So, Kay, the other day we talked about the mentality you have to have going into a work day because you never know what you're going to get once you walk through the door in that uniform, or once you walk out the door, I should say, in that uniform. Tell me about the way you have to approach your day. Not even you, but just officers in general.
Well, in the academy we train, it's gonna go 0 to 60. But I can't speak for other officers. I can speak for myself. You know, Mike, we was raised in the church. We're men of faith.
Right.
You know, uh, be ye ready, right? That's Matthew, 20, 24, 44. Yeah, that's all I can do, man. When I wake up in the morning or I go to work at night, I have to mentally prepare myself to say, hey, today might be the day that I might not go home, but I bind that, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus, right? And but being prepared also means, having empathy, being able to, use the experience that you have. My number one weapon I have is not my gun. I use like the street mentality. In the street, you use your gun, you don't pull it out unless you're gonna use it, you know? I pull my gun out when I'm doing building searches, it's dark, it's an alarm. That's how we train. Gun, flashlight. Other than that, if you don't have a gun, I don't have a gun. I'm not gonna introduce that into our elements. You know what I'm saying? But my number one weapon is life, my mind. The way I approach, but I'm ready though. You know what I'm saying? I have to be ready. If I have to make a decision, I can't hesitate to say, is it gonna be me or you? You know what I'm saying?
What do you think, T?
Um, Obviously, an understandable mindset. If we're having any level of empathy, of course, we have to respect that. We got to understand that that's the mindset that any officer could and will bring to it, simply because there are groups and people with ulterior motives. I think as a whole, for the majority, most people don't want to bring any harm to any officers or cause any riots or do things like that. But there are outside groups and there are infiltrators and people that want to create chaos. They feel like they believe in order of chaos. They believe order comes from chaos. So they try to, they believe in Hegelian dialect. So there are people who are going to use the movement, which we saw, the first two nights were that first Friday and Saturday where they were burning stuff up. I've been out every day and I saw it. It had nothing to do with most of it had nothing to do with protest. Now, there are a lot of protesters who believe that, hey, they are a part of, at the end of the day, what they're doing. Even though we don't believe in it, we're not doing it, they're still helping the movement go along, and they feel like the government officials are listening when they start tearing stuff up. But I saw it was clearly anarchists that they weren't yelling Black Lives Matter. They didn't really care about any of the demands we have. They just out there to tear stuff up. They're out there to shoot guns in the sky, loot stores, break stuff up, and use it for their own agendas. Nobody, the people that are out there marching even today, the people who have been very consistent, most of them want the demands met by the city and the state. They don't necessarily truly care about having a mindset of a mob mentality and harming officers or whatnot and wanting to do any harm to any officers. I know a lot of people have more disdain for the white officers than they do the black. Uh, what he said about them possibly having a chip on their shoulder, we can see that. He ain't got to tell us that. They are so their fists are clenched tight. They it's almost like preparing for a football game. When I was a linebacker and I couldn't wait to hit somebody, and my feet was ready, and I just had that mentality like somebody getting their helmet knocked off today. That's the mentality we can see in a lot of those officers. Like we could be singing "Kumbaya" in the middle of Marcus David Peter Circle or the Lee Monument, whatever you want to call it, and we can see the officers just waiting for the order. Like as soon as they tell me I can do it, I'm gonna go up and swing this baton. I'm gonna go up and spray them right in the face, and I'm gonna go. They want to meet us. Some of them want to meet us with violence, even though a lot of us don't want to meet that with any violence. Yeah, we yell. Yeah, we cuss. Yeah, we F-12. Yeah, we're upset about the state of things and the way that a lot of the police are acting, but we're not in a mindset where we want to actually cause violence to them. So, you know, a lot of times it has people prepared. There are people who are feeling the same preparation that the officers feel. Like, okay, I know when I go out here today, I know that it's a possibility that I'm gonna go to jail for fighting for my rights. I'm gonna get felony charges for some trumped up charges they're gonna make. I'm gonna possibly be maced. You know, it could be have a panic attack, heart attack, anything. You prepared in the same way. Like, okay, this might be it today when we go out there, because we don't know how it's gonna come. You might get tackled and bust your head open. You know, those kinds of things. So I think that both sides kind of have the same mentality before they start going out there. Except for it's, I believe on our side, it's less people who are prepared to do harm than it is on the other side.
I actually, but I can agree with that. Can you agree with that, Kay?
Yeah, I can definitely say. I mean, officers are, the adrenaline's rushing. Is you know, in our minds, is more of them versus us. But to address the chip on the shoulder thing, close, but not exactly what I was saying. We were talking, and you know, I always get the question, and I'll just be frank and not politically correct when I use certain terms. But you know, I always get asked, "Yo, the white boys you work with, they wake up, they want to kill it, they want to kill a brother, man. That's be truthful. That's what you got, right?" And I'm like, nah, not really. I feel like, and this is just me off the cuff, no formal, whatever, just me being a black man. I'm saying, yo, we got some cats, man, that's about their life. Like, they nice with their hands. And my people, I can say that because I'm black, my people, we like the punk white boys, just straight up and down. And the first thing, and don't even have no hands to back it. You know, you go up to the white boy, yeah, boy, you had that badge on it. So when I say a chip on their shoulder, they wake up saying, not, I'm gonna kill me a nigga today, right? I don't believe that's what they wake up saying, but I believe they do wake up and say, yo, if a black person try me, they gonna find out that I'm a legit white boy, and I have to prove that to myself. You know, in that regard, it's like a sense of, I'm a man too. Like, don't, you know, treat me any less. Like, they got their own reverse racism thing going on. You know what I'm saying? That's there across the bear, but that's what I'm saying. Chip on the shoulder. They're like, yo, if I give you a directive and you don't want to comply, and the first thing you want to say out your mouth is, don't touch me, put your hands on me, I'm gonna mess you up. And they're like, thank you, I wanted to hear that. And now I'm gonna show you I ain't scared. But no, the individuals that I work with, it's 700 and some of us. I can't say that I know every white officer, but I have come in contact with a lot of them, different backgrounds, you know, maybe some rednecks like the hunt, whatever the case may be. But through, you know, people before us that put us in a situation where we could work with these white officers, and we can set examples, and they respect us and say, okay, you know, he passed the test. You know, we got black sergeants, we got black, you know, majors, you know, black chiefs, you know, all these different things. Where now they have to look at us a different way, and you know, we have to have each other's back. And you know, and when I say have each other's back, not like I'm gonna condone something you do wrong, but the fact that, hey, you know, we in the trenches together. You know, if something happened to me, you know, make sure I get home to my kids safe, man. Don't be out there bull jiving.
Do you think that the escalation of the protests, as far as I don't want to say well, we talked about it before, throwing things at police officers, or inciting the police officer, or I don't know what word I'm looking for, but trying to agitate the police officer to thinking that they're not going to do anything. Do you think that? And I'm gonna ask you specifically, T.
Come on, man.
Do you think that's us?
I was part of the arrest team for the protest. The people that I was arresting were 25, 24, 22. white, male, female, white. We arrested two brothers and one sister. They didn't even know what they was doing there. And they were saying, I ain't gonna never do this again. I'm like, come on, man. But yeah, you know, college degrees, college graduates. I'm like, so I don't know how to, I want people to protest. I can't tell nobody how to protest. You know, wear a wristband and say you represent this and we know what you're about. At the end of the day, I'm saying, what can I do so that I don't have to work on my days off, bro? I'm working regular days doing patrol. The days that I'm off, they're taking them from me. I got to work from 6 to 6 to accommodate, like, you know what I'm saying? 15 days straight. Miss Father's Day, you know, all that crazy, you know, come on, man. Really? Protest, do you. What can I do to help not arrest you? How can I not charge you with assembling, you know, unlawful assembly?
Yeah.
How can I, you know, hey, I don't know, if you're in the street and it's a live street, maybe move, maybe don't put barricades in front of the hospital or stop the police from responding to 911 calls. I don't know how we can work that together. To me, that just seemed like common sense. I know, and I'm not knocking anybody. I don't know if they had a meeting to say, hey, let's stop the police from getting the 911 calls to save other lives, or let's be in the street. And I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It would be interesting to know, but at the end of the day, what it looked like to me is not organized. If you're gonna stop traffic, if you're gonna throw things, if you're gonna stop the officers from responding to 911, don't let the ambulance get to the hospital, or something as simple as, okay, now they're making an announcement to say, y'all had your time, y'all been here for 5 hours, we shutting this down. Please move, and make multiple announcements, and you be like, no, I ain't moving, and then you don't understand why you get arrested. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like, what is the police officer supposed to do that's there to say, listen, man, I want everybody to go home safe. All right, guys, can y'all please get out the street? This is officially over. It ain't over till we say it's over. Oh, okay.
See,
what can we do to help? Like, just let y'all do what y'all want to. I don't know. And that, when I say y'all, I don't mean you know, 381 movement. I'm just saying protesters in general.
We all side of the same coin. So yeah, we don't separate ourselves from the other movements, and we know the leaders of the other movements, even the night ones. Like I was saying before, there are people who have ulterior motives and agendas. We and a lot of the other leaders have systems in place to make sure that ambulances and whatnot can get to where they need to go. So the people that would do something like that or block it, they got their ulterior motives. You know, those
Right.
are the parts of things that we can't stop. There's people that, like I said, that try to infiltrate the movement, doing crazy stuff, you know, that we don't necessarily approve of. Now, there's some people who lead who feel like, okay, so a little bit of that chaos is okay because it gets the politicians a little woke up. Protesting in the street is something that has been happening for years. That's going back to Martin Luther King and them. When they march millions, they march in the street. We mean to disrupt that peace. We mean to stop that money. We mean to wake people up. So that part of it, that portion of it, and I guess that we don't really believe in the unlawful assembly portion of it because, you know, there are many different policies and rules and laws that the government will try to create to impede your constitutional rights because they don't want to hear it. So if it was up to them, we'd be in the backwoods somewhere in Amelia protesting just so it'd be like, oh, you got your right to protest. Just protest all the way out there so we don't have to hear it. It's not disrupting anything. That's not what a protest is about. A sit-in was illegal. I mean, Martin Luther King and them was sitting in white restaurants and they knew they wasn't supposed to. And the police came out there, beat the crap out of them, sick dogs on them, do everything, and it was all justified because they were technically disrupting the peace. Well, that's what we want to do. We want to do that as far as the violence towards police officers or whatnot. We try to police that as best we can. There's some people that just come out there drunk and acting stupid, and they want to come out there and they on a different F12 mentality. I've heard things from, man, y'all locked my brother up last year and tried to throw a brick, and we didn't have to tackle the dude, so we don't get met with violence and things like that. So there's people like that that come out and do stuff stupid like that. We don't necessarily condone it because we know what's going to happen once that happens. We know the tear gas and pepper spray. We know what's happened as soon as that happens, even though it's been times where none of that has actually happened and they still justify using the what we call lethal force anyway, with the tear gas and all the chemical agents. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it from his point of view as well too, because they got a job to do in their job, of course, law enforcement officers, and that's why that goes back into it's not necessarily just F them. We know that they are doing the bidding of the higher ups. That's who we effing. We don't want all of that. Like, we don't want officers to work overtime. We don't want to pay taxes and their overtime for them to be sitting out there trying to police us all day. We don't want that. So the higher ups and the officials going to do that so that we can shut up. See, and then it forces them to be in a bad predicament, and then they got to work and miss their family and do all that stuff. When sometimes it might just be people just sitting. It might just be people sitting at Lee Monument, and they don't want people there, so they're gonna say, well, no, you can't work. Go out there and get those buffoons or those rioters and looters out of there. When they, like I said, they could be out there sitting. There's been plenty of nights I've seen it happen where wasn't nothing happening, but the police came out there full military gear, ready to roll. So. And I think that at any given point, based upon, and we don't know the handbook of what they have and what they can and can't do, what's unlawful assembly and things like that, because it seems like anytime we get together in groups of 50 or more, that recording's going off. This is an unlawful assembly, no matter what's happening, just because we might just be yelling no justice, no peace, and 10 minutes later, recording playing. Like, get out of here. It's an unlawful assembly. We're going to start arresting us, and we're going to use chemical agents. So those are the things that we protesting against right there. We don't want the cops to have to be out there, and we don't want them messing with us either. We want to be able to protest. We want to be able to disrupt the peace. We want to attack the politicians and the people that sign these executive orders. That's what we want to disrupt. We want the chiefs. We want that. We don't necessarily, they just end up being a product of it all. The officers that's out there, from the black to the white. Because I understood what he was saying about, getting called Sambo and Coon and Miss Uncle Tom and all of that, which of course a lot of us are yelling at. We're upset because a lot of people feel like a black officer join a black man join law enforcement, he joining the Klan. That's how they feel. Now I personally know a lot of black officers join the police force to kind of counter to the concept that we said, if you can't beat them, join them, or to try to, be the change you want to see and infiltrate it from within. Like, okay, I'm gonna join and I'm gonna do this thing. Right. I'm not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be in school, trying to arrest young black brothers for having a dime bag on them. When the white officer is gonna give them a record. That record gonna turn into this and that. Then it's a school to prison pipeline, basically. I know a lot of them trying to implement that. They just end up being, what is it? Like when it, basically when you're just a part of something, like you get caught in the crossfire, basically, for lack of a better word. You get caught in the crossfire.
Pawns in the game is what I.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel you. I know you got to move, T. So first of all, I appreciate y'all doing this for real, because not everybody's gonna do this. Not everybody's willing to even have a conversation.
Oh, yeah, there'll be people upset with me.
They just want their side heard, and that's the end. So what would it take, tough question, what would it take to make protesters happy in your mind? What would it take for people to stop showing up to the monument?
For people to stop protesting right now initially, because the protesting will probably go on even if it moves out to the county. There's a lot of spirit and fire within the people right now, and there's a lot of people who definitely want to take it outside of Richmond. You know, Richmond, in the minds of the people, haven't been the worst police officers. People have not forgotten about Santana Olivaria. They haven't forgotten about the young man Jeremy or whatever that the interim chief that just stepped down killed. And definitely people have not forgotten about Marcus David Peters. That's a big one. People initially, and all the protesters and organizer leaders want this initially, and this will probably keep dial a lot of things down. That civilian review board, they want that for sure. That what I discussed earlier, they want the Marcus David Peters case open. I mean, the civilian review board probably a little higher than that, but they want the officer, whoever killed Marcus David Peters, they want to prosecute. They want to prosecute. He's a naked man with mental issues. They want to prosecute it. They want the Marcus alert. We want the Marcus alert as well, where a first responder to somebody who might be suicidal, having mental issues and things like that, that it not be law enforcement, that it would actually be somebody that is trained in therapy or a psychologist, somebody that is trained and educated in mental health, rather than somebody showing up with a gun. And, you know, somebody got a gun to their head, a cop showing up, put the gun down, pointing the gun at them. That's counterproductive. I mean, he about to kill himself. So that, as well as all of the protesters that have been arrested. Now, if they've done something dumb or violent, of course, we understand. But really, honestly, the movement wants all of the protesters charges dropped, and if there's any of them in jail, they need to be removed from jail as well. Those are like some of the main core things that people are upset about that they want now, especially the top being the Civilian Review Board and the Marcus alert. You know, I think that would satisfy a lot of people. It may not stop the protest initially because, you know, like I said, they may reach out to the counties or whatnot because they know everybody knows about Arrested and Clanover and, you know, Henrico and how they are, especially how they are for Black folks. We all know they sit right on the borders of the city. From Chesterfield, they sit right on the borders from Southside. Henrico sit right on the borders of Northside and everything, just waiting for Black folks. They just waiting for Black folks to cross over their border and find any dumb reason to pull them over. Air freshener around your rearview mirror, things like that. So it may not stop it altogether, but for the city specifically, the Marcus alert and the Civilian Review Board, I would say top two.
Got it. All right, Kay, got any last thoughts? Any thing to wrap this up?
No. Well, everything he said was, I mean, I get it. I don't want to necessarily rebut it, but I will say, the review board, I think that's a stretch only because I'm not saying that what we do is top secret. I'm just saying it's just not a good practice for civilians to know what it is that we're supposed to do, because at the end of the day, history shows that people, not all people, but people use it against you. So they'll take the information and not use it for good. They'll take it, and then next thing you know, it's a tutorial on how to him a cop up. You know what I'm just saying? Just so that's probably going to be the push that you get. Not because, listen, internal affairs is bad enough as it is. We don't like them. And they're police. And when you say the police, those cats on some different stuff, man. We don't even feel like they're police. The way they talk to us and the way they question us, it's brutal. It ain't nothing nice. Like, you know what I'm saying? So hats off, I guess, to our internal affairs. We don't like that. So that just means they're doing their job. You know what I mean? But they on some other stuff, bro. Like, you know you messed up, right? Like, what? Like, God, no, bro, I thought we was on the same. I'm sorry. They're like, oh. So, but at the end of the day, yeah, it ain't no joke. Yeah, but we want everyone to get along. We want, as a Black man, yeah, it got to stop, hands down. I wish I knew the secret ingredients to it, but it wasn't created overnight, so it's not gonna go away overnight. We got to push forward. You know, everybody has their part to play. My biggest thing that I tell to all, especially Black men, young boys about to become men, is about accountability. I teach them the definition, what it means, how it works. There's no excuses. Do you the right way. And most important though, if you got to learn how to survive in the streets, learn how to survive in the corporate world or the world itself. You know, it's just more to just being able to make it, you know, through the streets. You know, all right, you made it through the streets. Now, how you gonna live with your job or take care of your kids or take care of your mama and them? It's just so many life lessons that, you know, and you talking about funding. Yeah, we definitely need better education. A lot of these schools aren't accredited. I go to, why you need security at a zoning meeting? Because these people are saying, I don't want a certain class to mess up my property value and, you know, this, that, and the third. So it go on and on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could lead us to a whole nother place. I ain't
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying, when, you know, when you buy a house and you got kids
yeah.
and you're looking for a house, you should, you know what it is. Like, yo, if I don't have kids, yeah, if I don't have kids, I can shop. I can buy a house here. I got kids though. Hey man, I need you to get I'm not sending you to private school. I can't afford that. But you will go to an accredited school and we will get this thing going. So
that's one thing that, I mean, I'll just end it on this. That's one thing that I've said forever. I live in one area of the county, and I never have to worry about anything my kids need, any of that, because it's always there. Same county, other side, nah. I don't understand how that's the thing. And then when you get into the city, it's a whole, I mean, it's not even the same playing field. So
right.
How
exactly.
As someone to
you can't even have a good football team. Don't get me started, man. All these kids need these sports, but they need the education. They don't even qualify.
Right.
They ain't eligible to play, bro. You're the next Michael Jordan right here. Welcome. They're gonna kill me, man. I'm gonna stop, man.
Oh, again, I appreciate y'all joining me, man. I'm gonna let y'all get the rest of y'all day. Thank y'all again. 381 K.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, no problem.
All right.